David, why don't you tell us what you think happens here? How do the candidates take on the Trump economy? What do they say?
Well, I think they say two things. One is, obviously the economy is doing pretty well, but a lot of people aren't feeling it. So they will be speaking to people who feel insecure, people who have a lot of student debt, people who are worried about health insurance costs, people who are in communities that really aren't doing very well. So they will appeal to people who are worried. And secondly, they'll say the economy is doing okay now, but President Trump is ruining it with this. With trade wars and inconsistent policies towards the Middle East and incompetence in government, and they will try and paint him as reckless and endangering the strong economy that we have now, and they'll say he inherited from Barack Obama.
David, do you think the old adage works in this election this time around? It's the economy, stupid?
That's a really good question. On one hand, the economy always matters. I think if the economy is as good on November 2020 as it is now, low unemployment, high stock market, low inflation, wages moving up, albeit slowly, that'll be a tailwind for the president. So, on the other hand, a lot of things that we used to think are true seem to be different this time. So it's really hard to tell whether President Trump's character, some misadventure in the Middle East, something involving the endless Mueller report, a really strong Democratic candidate who seems to exude youth and charisma and gets young people to vote, that could offset the economy. But if the economy is where it is right now in November 2020, that's definitely a huge plus for the president.
Hey, Stephen, let's talk a little bit about what David laid out, just in terms of a strategy for the Democrats. If they say, yeah, the economy looks pretty good on the surface, but there are a lot of pockets, a lot of places where people don't feel it. How much does that message resonate? And what does the Trump administration say in response?
Well, that's what people are always going to say. Some people are left behind. I mean, you've got a big economy, a lot of people out there. But, look, I just looked up these statistics. Before the election, 36% of Americans rated the economy as good or great. You know what that number is today? 71%. Right. David, how is this the extension of the Obama economy? I worked on the economic program. Everything we've done has been to repeal everything that Obama did, from the Paris Climate Accord to the tax increases to the regulations and on and on and on. So we've actually totally reversed course from what Obama did. The economy is growing, by my reckoning, almost twice as fast as it was. We've got the lowest unemployment rate in 50 years. This is the best time in my or your lifetime to be looking for a job. Now, I've always said this, that, there are a lot of people who don't like Donald Trump. His approval rating very rarely gets anywhere near 50%. But even on Election Day 2016, when his approval rating was less than 40%, he won. And that's because there are a lot of people, Becky, in my opinion, who don't necessarily approve of Donald Trump and his behavior and what he says, but still vote for him because they like the policies, they like the direction of the economy. So if the economy is as good as David just said, a year and a half from now as it is today, I believe, David, that Donald Trump will win a 40-state re-election landslide.
David?
Well, I don't know who this we is. I wasn't speaking for the Democratic Party. You were asking me what they would say.
Yeah.
Steve apparently is now speaking for the administration, which is interesting because the administration seems to have disowned him. But look, I think the fact is that the Democrats.
I was just over at the White House, David. I was just over at the White House. David, I was just at the White House last week. How is that? How am I being disowned by the White House when I was just there last week?
The Democrats will point out that a lot of people at the top of the income distribution are doing very well. The president will say that, in a capitalist economy, if you do well, if you do good for the economy, everybody benefits. The Democrats will accuse him of trickle down and will point out that the wealthiest Americans have benefited more from the Trump tax cuts. I think that will have some resonance only if people in the middle feel like they're somehow getting screwed. So I think a lot really depends on what happens to the economy in the next year and a half. And what's ironic is everything the president is doing now seems to be undermining consumer and business confidence. Jay Powell pointed out the other day that business investment has fallen off. The trade war is popular as long as the president is seen as getting results from China. But if it's just hurting farmers and raising consumer prices and doing strange things like taxing autos, then I think that will undermine people's confidence, and they'll begin to doubt whether the president really is the economic leader.
Hey, David,
that
you just took a shot at me, so I want to take a shot back at you. You wrote in March that Stephen Moore has a $75,000 tax lien, took an outrageous shot at me. I just got a $50,000 check from the IRS for an overpayment of taxes. I wonder if you will write a correction on your tweet back in March.
I'll send you the check. I thought we were here to talk about the economy.
Well, why did you take a cheap shot at me and say that I own $75,000 when I got a 50? You didn't even call me and ask me, David. You just took a cheap shot.
I'm not interested in talking about Steve Moore. I'm interested in talking about the economy and the Federal Reserve.
You're not interested in setting the truth straight. That's why people call it the fake media, because you make things up and then you don't correct yourself.
So do you think the Democratic debate is going to go like this tonight, where the Democrats end up attacking each other, or do you think the focus is going to be a more united front versus the administration? It's hard to stand out on a stage with 9 other people.
I think it's really hard for them to stand up there and say, I'm as good as the next guy and he's as good as me and we have to beat Donald Trump. The demand on the candidates is to stand out and to say something that makes people think, wow, this person could be president and could beat Donald Trump.
All right, great. All right, we're going to end this here. Thank you, David Wessel. We want to thank Stephen Moore for being here and speaking for the administration, while David just was sort of trying to figure out what Democrats say. He really has no feeling one way or the other.
Unfair shot. You speak for the administration all the time.
I want the Democrats to talk about the economy nonstop in that debate, because that's Trump's territory.